traveling, it's horrible. I really think the airlines in the United States have decided that they're just going to herd us like cattle from city to city to city.
And if you go first class, it's a little better, but not by much. The food's better, you get a little more room, but you still feel like you're herded into a bus.
Joe and I have both traveled overseas recently on separate trips, and we can both say that over the last few years, overseas travel has changed significantly.
It's not like it was in the 80s.
But we have a few tips, some suggestions, some how-tos, just some wisdom from a couple of boomers. Before you even leave for your trip, you have to pack. Those compression bags that you've seen on social media really do work, and they work well. However, there are some helpful tips to actually packing those bags that you need to know. I heard from a friend that, and this is of course after I made the mistake, that you should pack your daily outfits and compress those all together. Even include your underwear, everything you need, maybe what you're gonna wear during the day, and then the outfit you're gonna wear to dinner at night. Everything in that one bag. That way, if you're like I was and you're traveling on this trip from city to city, from hotel to hotel, you don't have to uncompress every single bag and recompress like I had to do on my trip, which was really stupid. So make sure you think about the daily wear, socks, underwear, clothes, pajamas, everything. Put that in one bag and you should be good.
Did you have the compression bags that you actually vacuum?
Yes.
Ooh.
I took the vacuumer with me. You could charge it, but I could just pull it out of the bag, recompress it, and I was fine. But
I didn't have the vacuum ones. I just had the regular compression bags where you squeeze all the air out, and it does compact them down, but I didn't go to the extra level of the vacuums. But either way, compression bags are a great way to go. But remember this, it makes your clothing flatter, but it doesn't make it lighter.
Yeah.
So you've got to watch what the carry limit is for the bags, because some of the airlines will zap you for being over a certain amount.
that's key. And I would say the other thing you need to know is, I don't know how, but the clothes don't come out wrinkled. I thought they would be wrinkled after the compression, and they weren't.
We were advised to make sure that all of our outfits were coordinated in such a way that this pair of pants would go with that top and that top would work with that jacket. And you end up being able to get so many more outfits out of just a few pieces of clothing. Our plan was to do laundry halfway through our trip, but that didn't work out. But here's what did. We had these little tied sink packs that you can get. They're just individual packs. And if you need to wash out a few things in the sink the night before, that's so much more convenient than leaving it with a hotel to be laundered, which costs $1 bajillion. We're trying to find a laundromat.
And for everything we're talking about today, there will be links to those in the comments.
Also, make sure that your luggage rolls properly. And look for those bags that have at least 4 wheels that spin in all directions. It just makes navigating through the airport, up and down curbs, getting on and off trains, so much easier.
Yes, especially if you're older.
Make sure that your carry-on or your duffel have the little slit that you can slide over the luggage handle. But if you don't have one of those, you can purchase a separate strap that comes in really handy when you're zooming through the airport.
I'm going to give you an example of something that probably didn't need to happen the way it did. I'm married to someone that really, really wants to use what he bought like in 1947. There is a bag that we have that he always uses that has rollers on it, but I mean, I think they might actually be made of stone. So going through the airport, the wheels didn't turn like the new ones do. And it was so difficult. I'd be so far ahead and it'd be coming up along the back. And then his duffel bag did not have the little slip cover in the back where you could slide it over that handle. So there was a lot of shuffling around and having to grab things every once in a while. How many of you have been walking through the terminal, probably in a rush, because we always are at the airport, trying to get to your gate, and there's always that person, or even better, that family, that decides to just come to a screeching halt with all 37 bags and just start looking around, trying to find where the flight information is.
Yeah, is my flight delayed? Where's my gate? Know all that in advance before you stop in front of a line of people.
But if you have to stop, Move to the side. Standing in the middle, people are just stopping an entire terminal.
Agree.
I don't understand. So please just think about how you're stopping traffic in the middle of a terminal.
Right. And once you find your gate, don't sit down and put all your carry-ons and all the available seats around you. That is valuable real estate, and boomers need to sit.
Yes, we do. And I'm not afraid to ask you to move your stuff so I can sit down. That might be one of the perks of being older. You start to stand up for all the things that you think you need.
And when it's time to board, don't be that person that tries to break in line and get ahead of all the people who are assigned to board before you. And please have your documents ready. It already takes a while to board. Don't be the person that's holding everyone up.
I've actually gotten to where I have a separate wallet or holder that holds my passport, my boarding passes, luggage claim tickets, my valet ticket from when I parked my car at the airport before the flight, all of that stuff that has to do with travel, and even receipts that I have during the course of the trip. I just keep it in that one holder, so everything I need is in one place.
And there are a lot of automated pre-checks and getting into customs from this country to that country. You can do a lot of that in advance now, and it makes it go quicker. So do what you can in advance to prepare. Let's talk about attire at the airport. What do you wear? I always bring some kind of a jacket or a sweater, really a jacket. The more pockets, the better, because then that doesn't count towards your carry-on limit.
That's a great idea.
They have these jackets that are designed for travel that have 20 different pockets and zippers and hidden zippers that you can tuck anything from an iPad to headphones to wallets to passports. They're really fabulous.
I can tell you what not to wear. Please, no flip-flops. I see that so much in airports. It's like, I do not want to smell your feet while I'm sitting on the airplane. And I always get placed next to the person wearing the flip-flops.
It's better than when they have tennis shoes or some big heavy shoe on and they take their shoes off.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, neither one is ideal.
Right. But then, pajama pants.
Oh.
There's only one place for pajama pants. It's when you're going to bed.
I think this does make us in that boomer category because I came up in the time where you dressed to go to the airport. Now,
Yes.
I know that's ridiculous because I want to be comfortable when I'm traveling, especially overnight, an international flight or something like that. But come on, people. You can do better than pajamas, raggedy t-shirts, and holey shorts.
Just here's a very simple tip. If what you are wearing should really be at the pool or at home in the bedroom, then maybe you shouldn't be wearing it.
Let's talk about flight etiquette. How many times have you seen someone carrying multiple bags down an aisle, bopping everybody in the head as they come down the aisle?
Big pet peeve. I figured out that if you carry the backpacks or whatever your purse is in front of you as you go down the aisle, as soon as you get to your seat, you're ready to stick it in the overhead bin or underneath the seat. If you don't do that, then you're the person that's turning to the side and pretty much knocking out the poor person in the seat behind you to get all your stuff down. Then you have to find your bin and do whatever. It's just common sense to go ahead and be ready before you go down the aisle. One of the things I've started doing, and this is just so boomer, it's so boomer, but now I put my arm on the armrest if I'm on the outside of the aisle. And if I see it coming, because the back's coming, I just put my hand up and I just push it back.
Yeah.
And usually they turn around like they have no clue because they don't. But it keeps it from hitting me in the face, but also gives them some notification that they probably need to reorganize their situation.
Babies. If you bring a baby on a plane, you better be bringing some gum, a lollipop, something that they can use to chew on or swallow so their ears will pop. Yes. Otherwise, they're going to be screaming in pain the entire flight, which is what happened to us for the entire 10-hour flight. And there was no one on that plane that got a lick of sleep.
Well, With babies, you can just bring their bottles. And if they're swallowing, because you can't give them candy, obviously, that does alleviate the pain, and that will help them. I've gotten to where I just bring extra gum and extra lollipops when I'm on large flights because
You are a boomer. You brought snacks for everyone to keep their kids quiet.
Yes, and it was really for me. But I'll tell you, I've been there, and I had to learn my way, and I had people help me out when I was first taking a baby on board. And once you learn, you never forget to take those items, but that's just a little helpful hint. It does wonders for your trip.
And I know this isn't politically correct, but why not bring some Dramamine for those little babies? That's what I read that people do. Should you feel guilty if it is time to rest and you want to recline?
No. It's everyone's right to recline. It's just that if you happen to be tall like me, it's going to hurt when somebody backs into your knees. But it's their right, it's what they can do, and you kind of have to put up with it.
And if somebody in front of you reclines, it kind of gives you permission to go ahead and recline.
It's okay, you got to do it. What about deplaning? Doesn't everyone know deplaning etiquette? Back in the day, people used to scramble as soon as you land and start marching down the aisle. Now, people do not do it this way, and I'm so glad they don't, because if you don't happen to get up quickly, you would get lost, even if you were close to the front door. So now the etiquette is everybody files out of their respective seats, starting at the front, going all the way back, and you don't jump ahead. You wait for the people in front to get up, gather their stuff,
it's just
get
good
out.
manners.
It is, and it works so well, but every once in a while you'll have that one rogue person who has absolutely no clue whatsoever. And it's probably the same person who put all their bags at the gate all the way down both sides of them. But and they will get up and they'll start charging through, and it does kind of break up the rhythm, and it makes everybody angry. So don't be that person.
And why do people stand up as soon as the wheels hit the runway as though they're going to deplane right then? You know it's going to be at least 20 minutes before anyone can even start moving.
I'm starting to think there's just a lot of people out there that are not seasoned travelers. They don't really understand. You can tell the ones who've been around the block a few times, they just sit. Yeah. They wait, they sit, because there's no point. And then you find yourself standing, holding all of your stuff for, like you said, about 20 minutes before you leave. So there's really no point in it.
Okay, and let's talk about striking up that conversation to the person sitting next to you. Do you do it, or do you put your headphones on?
I put my headphones on.
Ooh.
I do. I've had situations where I've actually made friends on flights.
Mm-hmm.
And actually,
sometimes
on Facebook,
it's lovely.
It is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is. You can feel it. You know. You know. I think you do kind of have to feel the situation out a little bit. But I will say this, if you were in flip-flops and pajama pants, give it up, because everybody's going to think, this person does not have it together. So just don't, okay? I've made good business contacts on planes as well. You just start talking to people about what you do, and it's amazing. It was almost like, before LinkedIn, it was almost like a
little networking.
LinkedIn in the air, pretty much.
But don't have that phone call, that business phone call. I'll never forget one time. Somebody was a publicist for a famous country music star who will not be named, because it wasn't his fault. She had to let everyone on the whole plane know how important she was, and she was arranging his travel and his accommodations. She talked so loudly and for so long that I thought I was going to lose my mind.
I had an acquaintance like that. She was an important businesswoman when she was on the plane, and she was always talking very loudly about her upcoming meetings and pulling out her,
Nobody wants to hear that.
No, they don't.
I don't want to hear it in the grocery store. And I certainly don't want to hear it when you're locked in on a plane for 12 hours.
There's always going to be that person, but it is kind of funny to watch, especially as you get older. You're just watching it and going, wow, I'm glad I'm not there anymore. So, are there certain items that you always have to take with you on the plane that sort of help you make it through the flight?
Oh, my Kindle for sure, and my iPad. Between those two things, I know I'm going to be able to entertain myself for hours.
Well, I have this little gadget that works with my AirPods or with a headset that you can actually connect to the TV that's in the seat in front of you. That way you can use your own better stereotype earphones to listen to movies or TV shows or whatever. I also have a neck rest that I really, really like. It's something that actually wraps around your neck and holds your head up. And it's not the big inflatable.
I so want a picture of that.
It's pretty cool. It really is neat.
I can see Ko right now, strapped with her head in a brace somewhere.
It sounds like an episode of the Brady Bunch, where the guy wore the neck brace. But it's really neat. It's just sort of this little half shell that has fabric, and you just hold the shell here and wrap it around your. And is it pretty? No, but neither is what looks like an inflatable toilet seat around your neck when you're sitting on the plane. And plus, you don't have to sit there and like blow up your.
What about travel blanket? Do you bring one or do you use the airlines?
I don't bring a blanket. I usually have a jacket or a coat. Yeah. So that usually keeps me comfortable.
That keeps you from having to bring extra.
Yes.
But I do have a tip. I know this wouldn't work for you because Ko has got her outfits that she's got to travel with. And she's going to be totally decked out for every single meal while she's on her trip. So now be truthful, how many bags did you bring on this last trip?
I took 2, came back with 3.
Well, the best advice someone ever gave me, and I was so glad I followed it, is I took 1 carry-on and 1 personal item bag. The carry-on was so small and light. While I'm popping up from cab or taxi or Uber to a train I pick it up with 1 hand. The personal item bag goes over my shoulder. Best thing I ever did. I highly recommend it. Do you know that more than 35% of the time the airlines will lose your luggage? For that reason alone, I will always just travel with a carry-on and a personal item.
And I will travel with a steamer trunk.
She does. One of the travel tips that I learned was to practice pack before you go. So my husband and I both did this, especially since we were trying to put everything in 1 carry-on. He actually lived out of his suitcase for the amount of days that we were going to be gone to see if he was really missing something that he needed. And he ended up saying, you know what? I don't need that rain jacket. I'm not going to leave it, or I don't need that much shampoo because, you can only take a little bit. And remember, most hotels are going to have toiletries, blow dryers, shampoos, and stuff like that. So you can, a lot of the times, just leave those at home.
So here's one final thing that really doesn't have anything to do with packing or the airplane. But one thing that we always do is everywhere we go, we get a small, unbreakable Christmas ornament and a magnet. We have a travel Christmas tree that we've had for decades now that has all of our travels.
Such a good idea.
And it's been so much fun. Our kids love to open up those. It's gotten to be, over time, our main tree instead of the other tree.
And it brings up those memories every time you look. Oh, remember when we went to,
So that was really the reason I had my 3rd bag, was because I bought one in every city.
You had that many magnets?
Yes, every city we went into, we bought an ornament just because we wanted to say we've been there. We do that stateside too. It doesn't matter. I have my Nashville. I don't care where the city is. If I've been there, that's what I get.
Well, don't forget, if you don't want to go to the expense of buying a 3rd bag and paying for it to come in, you can always ship it. Yeah. Ship it home. We ended up buying a lot of wine in Italy, and we just shipped it back. So that's also an option.
So hopefully we have jokingly, but a little bit seriously, given you some guidelines. And if you're not a seasoned traveler, please listen to the guidelines. If you are a seasoned traveler and you don't do these things, please do these things.
Or if you are a seasoned traveler and you've got tips, share them, because we would love to know them. What are your travel tips? Inquiring minds want to know.